Welcome back to Top 5 Repairs. What happens if you don't change a bad strut or shock absorber? The purpose of the strut or shock absorber is to absorb shocks from the road. For example, if you're driving down the road and you're going over uneven road, or you hit a bump, or you hit a dip, that shock absorber and strut should absorb that impact. Now, if the shock absorber is bad or the strut is bad, you're going to notice bouncy ride. The next sign of a bad shock absorber or strut, it is going to be poor handling. Now, when you're driving down the road and you notice that your vehicle starts to lean on one side, or when you start to turn around a corner and you notice poor handling, that could be a sign it is time to replace that strut or shock absorber. The next sign of a bad shock absorber or strut, it is going to be cupping or scalloping. Cupping and scalloping occur when the tire is not making proper contact with the road, or it is making uneven contact. If you look at the tire carefully and it looks like the tire is kind of pushed in a little bit and it is worn, that is going to be cupping. If you're driving down the road and you notice that the vehicle is pulling to one side and you notice vibration and you notice that the steering wheel is shaking a bit, that could be a sign that there's something wrong with that tire due to cupping and scalloping. The next sign it is time to replace the strut or shock absorber, it is going to be nose diving. If you're driving and when you step on the brake and you notice that the front end of the vehicle starts to nose dive, that is a sign that the strut and shock absorbers are worn. The next sign of a bad strut or shock absorber, it is going to be noise. You're going to hear a rattling noise. You're going to hear some sort of noise coming from the strut area. So the first place you should check is for a bad spring. Maybe the spring is broken, or maybe it is not seated properly. So again, make sure to check the spring carefully. Next, check the strut mount. Maybe it is loose, or maybe the bearing is bad, or maybe the ball bearing itself is bad. So again, make sure to check the mount. And of course, make sure to check the top part of the strut. Make sure it is bolted down. Next, check the strut rod nut. Make sure that it is not loose. Next is going to be different ride height. If you notice one side of the vehicle is higher than the other side, for example, if the front is higher than the back or the left side is higher than the right, that could be a sign that the shock absorber or struts are worn and you should replace it. Next is going to be braking. If the strut or shock absorbers are bad and when you're braking, it's going to cause your vehicle to bounce up and down. So this can affect how your brakes are going to feel when you're braking. How do you know it is time to change that strut or shock absorber? And the first thing you should check is for oil leak. If oil is leaking out of the oil chamber, it is going to drip all over on the side of the strut, and it is going to cause dirt and little rocks to stick to the oil. How do you test for a bad shock absorber or bad strut? And it is simple. You are going to conduct a jounce and rebound test. So go to one end of the vehicle and push it down. The vehicle should go down one time and it should go up one time. If it goes up and down more than once, replace that shock absorber. So that is what's going to happen if you don't replace your shock absorber or strut when they are bad. I hope you found this video useful. As always, thank you for watching and subscribe to Top 5 Auto Repairs.